is over. It's a very small price to pay for USA and world safety and peace. Mike Lee, your reaction. Good morning.
Maria, good morning. What a weekend. We've seen oil dramatically off its highs from last night. It looked like last night we were on a parabolic move up.
Yeah.
Close to like $120 last night. We're down closer to 100 right now. But the significance of what's going on in Iran is the Strait of Hormuz. And for most people that don't understand, over half of China's oil passes through there. Right. And to me, whether Iran was an imminent threat or not is very much up for debate. But what is an imminent and ongoing threat to our country in the short, medium and long term is China. And that, to me, is what this is all about, and controlling the energy into China. So if we can control the Strait of Hormuz on the backside of this conflict, we can control the energy that flows to that part of the world, meaning China will only be able to buy from Russia, okay, and not the Gulf the way it did prior to this conflict. So we are looking for some short-term, there's obviously going to be some massive short-term disruption in oil prices, but as soon as this is cleaned up, you're looking at a much safer, much more secure world, courtesy of the United States.
I totally agree, Mike, and I've been talking about this, the China angle now since day one. Should the president be tapping into the Strategic Petroleum Reserve? If he puts more oil on the market, wouldn't that pressure prices lower? Yeah,
Maria, I think the key is getting the Straits of Hormuz open. But on that note, the finance ministers of the G7 nations are meeting today about a coordinated strategic release through the International Energy Agency. So we should see some accommodation here, and I believe these price spikes to be short term. I mean, if it's elongated, yes, that could be a solution. I don't know that it's necessary in the next few days to do that, because if you go back to 1990, all the major conflicts in the Middle East, if you go out 90 days, the average price movement on a barrel of oil is 0.1%. So these things tend to normalize themselves over time. And so what I think the market and short-term trading is all about is security, about getting those shipping lanes open. And I believe if we're not there right now, we should be there relatively soon, given the destruction that that's happened to the Iranian Navy as well as their defense mechanisms.
Yeah, and the president put a timeline on this. He expects that perhaps this could be going on for a total of 4 or 5 weeks. Isn't that, what is your take on these market moves this morning with gasoline now up better than 9%?
Yeah, so we are way off the overnight highs of the price of oil. We almost touched $120 a barrel. And just as a historical fact, going back to 1990, if you look at all the Middle Eastern conflicts 90 days after the start of them, the difference in the price of oil from beginning to 90 days is 0.1%. So I would expect these shipping lanes to get open in short order. I believe that is the center of this conflict that we're going on here, not nuclear weapons, as a lot of people are saying. So as those get open, expect the prices to come down substantially. I think this is a great move by the Trump administration to step in with the reinsurance. And I think what you're setting yourself up here for in stocks is a short-term bounce. Okay, markets have the lowest positioning since Liberation Day last year in terms of net long exposure. So you could, on the heels of 2 or 3 good headlines, like the Strait of Hormuz opening up, like oil pulling back, you could see a potential massive short-term rally in stocks.
So, Mike, are you saying that in a market that's down 565 points, you are a buyer?
Yeah, I'm looking for selective names. I'm still wading into software names which are off dramatically off their lows, with other stuff that's going on in the background in terms of AI. And if there's anything else out there that you've had your eyes on, like, say, a NVIDIA, probably a good opportunity to step in here if you have more than a 1 week or 1 day time frame.
By the way, I completely agree. You want to right now assess what you've been thinking about that may have gotten away from you. Look at those companies, those stocks that may have been, something that you wanted to invest in, and start focusing and looking at what you're going to get into, where you're going to buy when things settle out. It might not be today, it might not be in the next week, but it's coming. That buying opportunity.
To women, especially Defiant. women.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching them on the bus last night in a piece on Instagram, and my heart was breaking. I mean, that they have to go back to Iran. That's why the Australian government is being pressured to keep them there. Now they have to go back and face the music because they lost, because they wouldn't sing the anthem. Ridiculous, Mike.
Maria, I'm surprised the Australian government hasn't done anything yet. I mean, they're like the European nations in the moment, welcoming migrants from all over the world. This is a left-wing government, so maybe because they want to stick it to the U.S. for going to war, they're going to make these girls pay. But I would be shocked if they force them to go back.
Well, that is just disgusting if they do, honestly. All right. Well, Mike Lee, Shokasoni, I want to get your reaction here. The Iranian Navy is pretty much at the bottom of the sea right now, but this this standstill in the Hormuz is really a major, major issue. The Middle Eastern countries make money on this move in oil, but the Qataris have publicly estimated that oil will rise to $150 a barrel if Hormuz is not opened soon. Mike.
Yeah, well, Maria, if you look at the price action from last night, oil has been trading above its 200-day moving average for like an extended period of time, and oil historically trades almost like there's a lot of mean reversion in the price action, so a lot of players were short going into this. We got a massive short squeeze last night. So when that happens and you get a candle in the chart where you get this enormous spike up, a lot of times you get a clear sell-off into that, and the G7 finance ministers are having a conference call at 8:30 a.m. today to talk about a coordinated strategic petroleum reserve. We could see oil reverse a lot of these gains over the next few days, and if those straits open up, then we could kind of go back to where we were pre-war.
Yeah, the biggest group that's getting impacted, the most immediate damage is being done to Europe, Cheryl. I know we talk a lot about private citizen, you know.
Well, Maria, like it just doesn't matter for these leftists. Like, as long as you're part of their revolution, you can do anything, you can say anything, no matter how bigoted, how ugly, how incompetent you are. Like, it's all one big revolution. It's a Bolshevik revolution meant to destroy this country, and it's just so sad to see what's happened to New York over the last 12 years. First de Blasio and his incompetence, and then Eric Adams with the brief moment of reprieve in a few pockets, wasn't able to really turn the ship, and then now here we are back again. The Titanic continues to sink.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's really changing, and that's why you're seeing a huge exodus of the highest earners out of New York and going to places like Texas and, and Florida. I want to thank you, Mike Lee and Cheryl Casoni, for being here this morning. Thanks.